Hey there, I'm MamaLisa, and I've been blessed to meet amazing people along my life's journey. People with diverse careers, interests, and a passion for improving the world through acts of service and kindness. I'm an educator, a mother, wife, and friend to all. Early exposure to careers and training can change the world and end poverty as we know it. So what are you waiting for? Let's sit down, chat, and learn about careers together as we work to change the world. I'm MamaLisa. I know cool people, and I'm bringing them to you. And welcome to Career Talks with MamaLisa. Enjoy. Well, good evening, everyone in Facebook land and Instagram Live tonight. This is MamaLisa with the season finale of MamaLisa Career Talks. Students, you have asked for it, and we have answered you in a big way. There are so many of you who are excelling or curious about the area of sports, and you wanted to know what else could you do besides play the sport. Well, we have lots of people here today who are going to answer that question for you. They're going to tell you about their journeys as they played the sport, as they coached the sport, as they worked the front and the back ends of the sport. We have 9 amazing panelists from all across the United States. And panelists, I just like to begin by letting you guys know how we run this particular panel. We're going to start off and we'll go in order, allowing you guys to tell your career journey. Everyone will have the opportunity to take about 2.5 to 3 minutes for that. From Facebook and Instagram Live. Round 2, that's when you'll have the opportunity to share some of the challenges the way. In addition, you can use that time to tell us how you feel your lives outside of your careers. Everybody ready? Let me see a thumbs up if you're ready to rock and roll with the mama. All righty, so we are going to begin tonight in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, with Mr. Travis Williams.
Hey, thanks for having me. Certainly looking forward to getting to know everyone on this call. My name is Travis Williams. Just give you a little 2.5 minute bit. Former 18-year college men's basketball coach. Used to be the head coach at Fort Valley State University, Tennessee State University. Had opportunity to coach professionally in China. But I played college basketball at Georgia State. I'm from Tifton, Georgia. I'm actually in Tifton, Georgia now. So I was down here doing a big feeding program for my hometown youth in the community. And so, but as I transitioned from Georgia State and coaching, I'm the executive director of HBCU All-Stars. We were scheduled to do the first ever historical Black college All-Star game during the Final Four here in Atlanta. But as you know, COVID-19 hit, and so we rescheduled it, and we will be doing it in 2021 in Indianapolis. And so the first ever HBCU All-Star game was featuring all our top players from all our historical Black colleges, the MEAC and the SIAC versus the SWAC and CIAA. Team John McClendon versus Clarence Big House Gaines. And so, and also I'm the co-founder and producer of In the Loop exclusive conversation, as you mentioned about for us transitioning from coaching. I have a sports show that talks all things faith, family, career, and everything that goes on in today's society.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Travis. Now we are going to head over to Dallas, Texas, and we are going to hear from Miss Terrell-Andrews.
Let me see. I'm the general manager of the Mark Cuban Heroes Basketball Center. We are a old YWCA. It's actually 45 years old as far as the building is concerned. I've been there 11 and a half years. I oversee the day-to-day operations. We work with young people from the ages of 5 all the way to the pro level. We are very unique in the sense of we are not like a typical recreation center. We're actually a training facility. So my gym does not have any seating because it's designed just for coaches and trainers to do one-on-one training, or for teams to have that close-knit training that they need with their coaches and their trainers. We also offer a program for young people who are interested in internships. So for the past 10 years, we've had about 120 young people from all over the country to work with us in the fall. They've worked with us in the summer and in the spring. And we do internships in sports management. A lot of them are interested in operations. My background actually is I'm a retired journalist. So this is a new profession for me. Did 25 years as a journalist. And so when I crossed over into sports, it was more so working as a publicist and doing a lot of consulting work for different professional athletes. And then I have another job where I do security logistics, and we do a lot of live events. And so it's more so for individuals in the sports industry. So we travel across the country doing a lot of those different events and productions. So that's pretty much what we offer. We do a lot of activities off the court because I'm focused on helping the young men and the young ladies that we interface with to give them as much balance, if you will, so they can understand what it is for them to be prepared in any situation. And so a lot of them not even interested in basketball. So we offer lacrosse. We're working in a gardening program. Some of our kids are into modeling. And then we have a suit up experience program where I provide young men with dress suits. And we've been doing that for the past 5 years. But we teach them etiquette. We teach them career readiness. We have them engaging with male mentors throughout this whole process. And we've been doing that actually here in Dallas, but we've been branching out to other locations. And so that's pretty much in a nutshell some of what we do.
Thank you. That was very good. And guys, we just want you to know that the chat room is open. So if you want to go in there and put in some of your questions, you can do that, as well as type in your questions on Facebook and Instagram. And now we're getting ready to travel on over to Argentina, where we will hear from Mr. Myles Whitehurst. Okay, Myles, take your mute off.
Yeah, I'm getting equipped to the Zoom. But my name is Myles Whitehurst. I'm from born in Dothan, Alabama, but originally raised in Montgomery, Alabama. Basketball, well, right now I'm playing professionally in Argentina. And it all began from high school when I knew I could probably had a possibility of making this a career. My junior and senior year was my major years of high school, and that was at Montgomery Catholic High School. And then from there on, I went on to junior college. The road, it wasn't easy, but I had little to none offered. And after that, I had graduated. And then after graduation, I had tryouts at various junior colleges. And then once I tried out for Laline B. Wallace in Andalusia, Alabama, the coach is Ricky Knight. He ended up giving me an opportunity for a 2-year scholarship, and that was the beginning of the collegiate level. And then I went on from there, just got my basics, and then I went on from there and I went out to Kansas City, Missouri, with Jason Klein, and their whole pro basketball program out there was just great from the start to finish. Even though I had some rocky roads, I'm a college athlete that ended up getting ineligible, and then having to get back eligible was also a tough road too. But it happened, and it happened my junior year, my first year being there, transfer from junior college. And then after that happened, I got over that hump. And then once I got over that hump, I ended up finishing my senior year, graduating business management bachelor. So by then I was obtaining my associates and I had my bachelor's at the same time, but still didn't know which direction I was going to go with my career. So I did dab in the business field and took on an internship out in California, dealing with order operations, internship with a music production company called Speaker Mind Production. And then maybe a few months later, I ended up getting a call from Peru, and that was my first contract professionally. So after that, ended on playing in Peru, Then after Peru, I didn't end up getting an overseas deal, so I ended up playing ABA for the Atlanta show at the time. And I was living in Montgomery at the time, so I was going from Montgomery to Atlanta maybe twice a week for practice, and then we'll have games on weekends. And that was a good stepping stone for me. And then after that, I ended up getting invited and going on a Germany tour, which was a rocky experience, but it helped my basketball experience and career. And then once I went on to do that, I went on to play in Peru again in Cusco. So I played pretty much 2 years in Peru, but then I had a down year and didn't get picked up by a team. So, I took my time and just weighed my options, and then I ended up getting an opportunity in Argentina last year. Ended up winning. We ended up ascending a level, winning me a medal in the final in Mendoza, and now I'm in Aero Secto, close to Buenos Aires in Argentina, and this is my second year playing basketball.
That is an awesome journey. Thank you so much, Myles. And now,
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And when I heard you talk about going to Kansas City, I used to live in Kansas City, and basketball in Kansas City is something amazing. I didn't grow.
It's a whole new world.
Isn't it? Because I was not a sports junkie, but I became a basketball geek in Kansas City because that scene is insane. It will make you become a lover of that of the
definitely, most definitely.
Now we're gonna head over to North Carolina, and we are going to talk with Miss Ltona Lamonte.
Hello, how's everybody? Thank you for doing this panel. My name is Ltona Lamonte, and I am a 1999 graduate of Winston-Salem State University, which is an HBCU here in North Carolina. Ironically, the first gentleman to speak talked about Big House Gaines, which is a big, he was one of the most important coaches here at Winston-Salem State, and ironically, his wife's birthday is today, so how about that fact? So after graduating from Winston-Salem State, I had to do an internship, and I did an internship for 6 months at the University of Tennessee. Ironically, I was able to work with Pat Summitt, interact with her and her staff for 6 months. From there, I went to Georgia Southern, where I had my first assistant coaching job. At Georgia Southern, we ended up winning a championship regular season the second year. And then after that, ended up starting a family, went to high school in Lexington, North Carolina, but then had the opportunity to get back on a college level at Western Carolina. Had a really good season. We was there for 5 years. And then we were the staff that went over and replaced Coach Al at NC State. So from NC State, went over to Belmont in Tennessee, had success there, and then North Carolina Central as an assistant coach. So this is my first head coaching job at Winston-Salem State. Been here 4 years. I'm about to go into my 5th year. So I'm pretty excited.
Thank you so much, Ltona. And now, since we have talked a lot about basketball, I think that it's time for you guys to hear about somebody working in another sport. So a lot of people like to say, oh, this isn't a sport because it's dominated by estrogen. But we are here to let you know that cheer is a sport, and not only is it a sport, it's a business. So let's head on over to Atlanta, Georgia, and hear from Melissa Mims.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Mims. I'm from Albany, Georgia. I attended Savannah State University, where I got my bachelor's degree in communications, and my psychology, my master's degree from the University of Colorado Rockies, with a specialty in organizational development. After graduation, I was in sales for about 13 years. And then I worked for a national meeting and conference firm. It was during that time, and my son was playing sports, that I realized that I wanted to host tournaments for him. He played football, but he wasn't necessarily on a good team. But I saw that there were tournaments and so forth out there for teams, and I wanted something in our area, not just a tournament, but I wanted to be involved with offering something that it wasn't just about the sports, but it played a big emphasis on sportsmanship and character and brand image. So at that point, I created a Thanksgiving holiday tournament. I know Lisa said cheerleading, but I started in football first. So I started hosting a Little League Turkey Bowl. My first year, I had about 20 teams throughout the Southeast. Last year, we celebrated our 5th year with the Turkey Bowl with over 70 teams throughout the United States, over 2,000 or 3,000 athletes coming out for that, ages 6 through 14 years old for that. So we've done that for about 5 years. And then year 2, my daughter became an all-star cheerleader, where I had the opportunity to form an all-star cheer program myself. So about 2 years later, I founded Showtime Pros, which the Turkey Bowl as well as the all-star cheer group fall up under that umbrella. So we do offer all-star cheer because one of my favorite sayings is, it's more than just cheer. And that's with any sport. It's more than that, just that sport. We mentor our young people. We want to show them life skills and teach them life skills. So we've enjoyed cheering. They do competitive cheer, throughout Georgia and surrounding states. So we enjoy that as well. I enjoy sewing and mentoring into the girls' lives. So just from a different perspective, I really enjoy planning sports activities and meetings and tournaments and so forth. So you might not be the athlete, even though I did cheer in high school and ran track. You can use your skills in other areas of the sports arena if that's where you're gifted at. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So for the parents listening out there, a lot of parents have amazing skills. You can take those skills, put them to use for your children, athletes, and who knows, that seed can turn into a business and a career change for you too. So now we are going to go back to North Carolina, where we're going to talk volleyball. Let's hear from Miss Jennifer Charles.
Hello, everyone. Please excuse me for my technical difficulties. I'm really excited to be here amongst you all and those who are watching. As Lisa says, I am currently at University of Tennessee. I am a member of the volleyball coaching staff here. I'm going into my 2nd season with this staff, which we're looking forward to if everything goes well with the pandemic. As for me, I started off as a student athlete at Georgia Southern University. I had an opportunity to compete as a volleyball player, and on the back end of my career, also track and field. And through those experiences, I went into coaching, and I've been coaching for the past 10 seasons or years, whatever works best for you all. And I had an opportunity to work at various universities, ranging from junior college, mid-major, all the way to Power 5 universities. And I'm really blessed to have opportunity to see it at all levels. And for me right now, I'm currently on the path of wanting to coach collegiate, to become a head coach in the future. And so that's a little bit about me. Thank you, Lisa.
All righty. And one thing that Jennifer Charles didn't share with you guys, she was an athlete at Georgia Southern, and she broke several records, not only in volleyball, but also in track and field. If you guys are familiar with the university, they played basketball in Hanner Fieldhouse. So for years, they had paintings on the walls of some of their standout athletes. And if you walk through there, you would have seen JC in her volleyball gear painted on that wall. Or you could have gone and purchased a Coke at the concession stands, and she was such a powerhouse. Her face was all over the cups that you drank there as well. So now, with that being said, we are going to, let's see, where are we heading to? We are going to head to the high school level, where we're going to hear from Mr. Rico Campbell. All righty, there you go.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Rico Campbell. I'm originally from Statesboro, Georgia. I graduated from Savannah State University 1998, I ran track. I was on a track scholarship. After that, I'm not showing up, so I guess we got to do it this way.
No, we can see you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I ran track at Savannah State. I graduated 1998. I got a job at the Georgia Department of Labor in 1998, and started working there in 1999. So when I started working there, I kind of wanted to get back into sports, and so I sought out different high schools where I could coach, and I found one place, Clayton State University. So Coach Mike Mead was my first head coach that I worked for. So under him, I was responsible for the sprinters, hurlers, relays. So we broke a lot of records my first year there. So we got married to MamaLisa and end up leaving Atlanta and coming to Statesboro. So when I came to Statesboro, I was a track coach and assistant basketball coach. Due to my family, it was hard for me to coach basketball. So I only coached basketball for 2 years at Statesboro High. But the majority of the time at Statesboro High, I was the head track coach. Later on in my career at Statesboro High, I became the girls coach also. They kept having to find different coaches. So finally they came to me and said, you know what, just take both of them. So I took both of them. So each year I was the girls head coach, except for the first one. I think we tied for the region, but we won the region. So out of total, we won like 11 region titles. Then we transferred we transitioned and moved to Savannah, started working at Johnson High School. That's where I got to coach football for the first time and basketball. So when I left there, now I'm at New Hampstead High School. But before that, I got a chance to work at Savannah State as an assistant coach under Coach Whitaker. I'm pursuing my doctorate degree, and my mentorship was under Coach Whitaker. Since he had a master's degree, that's probably one of the people I wanted to work with. So I got a chance to go to practice every morning. This was right before work. So I would go to practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I would have to be at Johnson at 7. So I was able to sacrifice some time and do that. And then once I stopped coaching basketball, I started going to all the meets. The only meet I missed was the Nationals in Texas. I didn't go to that. But other than that, I was there. I also have started an AAU program and both basketball and track in Statesboro. So right now I'm just concentrating on, raising my kids and making sure they graduate and play sports.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Campbell. And we're going to move over to our final panelist for the evening, where we have Coach D coming to us from Statesboro, Georgia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, everybody doing? I kind of feel like it was meant for me to go last. My story is going to be kind of a little bit different from everybody else. But my name is DeAnthony Stevens. I am the CEO and owner and operator of D-Time Training here in Statesboro, Georgia. We primarily do a lot of training at Level Up Sports Academy, located here. Formerly, everybody knows Mill Creek Park, and it's over around that area. Just to give a little bit of background on myself, I am from Statesboro, Georgia. I'm 28 years old. I'm a former high school quarterback, of course, here in Statesboro. I played from 06 to 09. I won 1 region championship. We came up with 2 times short as a region runner-up, semifinals and a state appearance in 08. I was the backup quarterback that year. Had a good bit of tremendous amount of playing time. Also, Bullitt County All-Area honorable mention. Out of high school, I didn't really have a lot of high school looks because of the traditional offense that we played in as a quarterback. So I really wasn't a primary factor going into a lot of games. My mind kind of helped me, get transition throughout high school and through a lot of things to help me get a little bit of exposure that I did receive. I did attend Albany State University. Like I said, going out of high school, I really didn't have much of a plan. Dealing with the things that I dealt with in high school, it was kind of hard to just kind of go away from football because that's what it was for me. I did play basketball under Coach Campbell, which he did just mention as the junior varsity basketball coach. I did win a region championship with Eric Ferguson in '08 as a bench player, just giving a little bit of time off the bench there. At Albany State, I tried out for the football team thanks to Mrs. Stacy McBride, who used to hound me all the time about, just not living with regrets and, seeing that I had potential and knowing that I had the athletic ability to continue on and pursue a football career. He taught me into going down and trying out for the football team that summer going into my freshman year. And I actually made the team, but I think that's my senior year. I suffered a big concussion, and I was kind of really vulnerable about going back to playing football. So I kind of focused my attention on my studies while I was there at Albany State my freshman year. Ended up transferring back here at home because, financial reasons and personal reasons. Felt like I was going to be comfortable here. I started going to East Georgia State College in 2011, where I was taking up general studies, still kind of undecided, trying to make a decision on what I wanted to do with my life. I was still, and then that's kind of where I fell in love with kids. I started working at the Boys and Girls Club. So shout out to Miss MamaLisa, where we encountered a relationship back when I was in elementary school. So that's how I became to know her and Mr. Rico throughout my childhood. So yeah, I kind of folded back into the Boys and Girls Club and started working there in 2012. And things just kind of took off for me. Unlike you guys, I haven't had the opportunity of, going to the fancy colleges. I've attempted it. Things just keep coming up, and I don't want to sit here and make excuses because I don't get it done. But throughout that, I just kind of take my experiences of working at the Boys and Girls Club and being around people and on a collegiate level and being around positive role models every day that are going to Georgia Southern, that are doing positive things in the community, that are in fraternities and things like that. Just working around people like that on a daily basis and seeing the good in me come out with kids kind of helped me realize my potential and my purpose here on earth and what God put me here to do. So that's where I also kind of picked up coaching at. Working as a sports and recreational, youth developer at the Boys and Girls Club. I was very versatile there, just worked in so many areas, but sports was my thing. I was really good with kids, very instructive. I know how to do detail. I can get in communication with them and create lasting relationships with them. The kids just trusted me. And it just fell into my hand and it became a natural state. And then it's where I think in 2014, my good friend Lamar Lundy kind of introduced me to Vernon Littles and the Statesboro Force AAU program. And I was just kind of, again, just kind of freelancing, trying to figure things out. And I volunteered, no pay or anything like that. We were taking our own money and travel and going to different places for them. And we had to develop a relationship with the kids. And Lamar fell off, and I continued to go on. And later on, and the parents kind of gravitated towards me as well as the kids and started, push me as to, why don't you train these kids? Why don't you start your own program and things like that, which kind of pushed me into getting out of that program and doing my own AAU program here in Statesboro called Coastal Empire Elite, which I later found out was actually an AAU team here in Statesboro by the last state championship team, the 1991. That was their exact name. So, but going back to D-Time, I know I'm speaking a little too long. Let me hurry up. I started in 2015 thanks to Sheldon Grant, who's a parent of one of the kids I train now at his child for about 6 or 7 years. Raylan Grant, he plays with future AAU team. They're currently ranked #1 in the country. But he's hounded me about starting my own training program. So 2015, I would go outside of Blitz Street in the sun, just kind of getting parents to donate certain things like that. And we just started, doing things. So it would kind of be an off and on process for me because, my funds and my resources wasn't there. But, I just didn't.
Uh-oh. Where's Coach D? Okay. Coach D has something's gone on with his technology, but we are going to move on to round 2. I often call round 2 the lightning round. And this is where we want you guys to share some challenges that you've had along the way. And if you have time, kind of let us know what you do outside of your career. And we're going to begin that with Travis Williams.
Thank you. Thank you. Challenges. I think if you're in coaching for a number of years, like I said, I've coached 18 years. 9 of those 18 years, I moved 9 times out of those 18 years in the coaching business. So there's always challenges, especially when you have a family and a wife. And so you have to take that in consideration, her career as well. So just navigating that process. During the 2018-19 season, I was assistant coach back at my alma mater. Ron Hunter brought me back after 15 years. We went to the NCAA tournament. We lost to Houston in the first round of the NCAA tournament. With that success, Coach Hunter took the Tulane job. And so he was taking our entire staff. At the same time, Georgia State University named me interim. And so, and during that time, my wife said, hey, you can go to New Orleans, but me and my babies are staying back in Atlanta. And so, of course, as a father, first and foremost, as a husband, I made the ultimate decision to say, listen, I can't afford to leave my wife with my 2 young children. So I made some personal and some financial, personal and some professional sacrifices. Say, hey, let me regroup. Let me make a decision what's the best for my family. So I decided not to move to New Orleans. And as soon as I decided that, I launched HBCU All-Star Game. And so for me, it's always been about service and service of. So 8 of my 16 years collegiately were at HBCUs. And so I got an opportunity to see the challenges where we're not as fully funded. The young lady that came on here said she went to Salem, CIAA, can understand that, you know, and then in some of our historical Black colleges, we don't have the resources of a Power 5 or these high major programs. So we have to be creative on how we go out and recruit that based off relationships. So we have to be real creative. And so some of the things we may not be afforded to some of these other Power 5s, how you travel, how you eat, and all this other stuff. So those are certain challenges. But at the same time, we encourage our players, listen, you know, we put on clothes just the same as those individuals. And so those are just some certain challenges that I faced. And so, but when it's all said and done, being in the game of coaching because you love it, it's your passion. If you're in it for money, you're in it for the wrong reason. You know, one reason I'm in coaching because of all the relationship that my coaches had on me and the influences they had on me. It influenced me to always give back and to service. And so that's important. And that's one reason I launched in the Luke Travis Williams exclusive conversations about 3 months ago, because what I wanted to do to be able to provide the platform, whether it's for our historical Black colleges and universities, whether it's for our coaches or outstanding young women and men on this platform that we have today, being able to come on or listen to the guests that we have on the show. Like I have Coach Tom Crean from the University of Georgia. He will be the first white colleague that I've had on the show. And so it'll be a great opportunity to get his insight on what's been going on with the racial unrest across the country. And so that's why it's important for me, the challenges. But hey, I just encourage you, keep working hard, keep fighting. And remember, it's not about what you know. It's about who knows you. That's important. Just like you getting on this call here, it's about who knows you. When it's all said and done, it's relationships. So make sure you take that to heart with that.
Thank you so much, Travis. That was excellent. Just excellent advice that you gave everyone. And guys, just so you know, Travis did mention that he is a host of In the Loop, and he will have to exit the call early tonight. If you have questions that are specific for Travis Williams, you will need to put those in the chat or go ahead and put those on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm from Tifton as well with Travis. So growing up, he is one of the people that I looked up to. He's always making a difference, always being positive, and the things that he's saying, they're really real. So take advantage of this opportunity, guys, and get what they are giving you tonight. Now, we do have one more person who needs to share their career journey with us. We have retired NFL player Jeremy Mincey, who has entered the room. So, Jeremy, at this time, we're going to let you introduce yourself to the people and tell us about the story behind your glory.
Well, it started, I kind of started football late. I had a troublesome background. Didn't know which way I was going, but I learned that putting goals on a sheet of paper mattered, and I was able to make those thoughts manifest. So I wrote a list of things that I wanted to accomplish. And, they slowly started becoming checked off one by one. My main goal was to uh, actually pass the ninth grade first and get out of and stay out of trouble for one. And then my second goal was to make the basketball team. And then I just had this urge to play football. My cousin Amos Hodge, he was a former football player. He kind of inspired me to go out and play football. So I went out. I wasn't good at all. Didn't understand it really. And we ended up going to a state championship. And I really wasn't a factor in that game. You know, it kind of bothered me. So the off season, I ended up working hard as I could, gained 15 pounds of muscle, was the third strongest on the team. And we ended up winning a state title. And I ended up getting a scholarship at Jacksonville State University. And I turned it down because that's not where my heart was. And I took the JUCO route and went up to Kansas. And that was tough, man, being away from the family and being that far away from home, not understanding, what lies ahead. I didn't even know that I wouldn't even have a scholarship to the University of Florida if I didn't graduate in 3 semesters. But I applied to graduate in 3 semesters anyway, just to, be on the safe side. We ended up winning a national title there, made all conference. I ended up in Florida. I ended up beating out, the second-rated defensive end in the world for my position in Florida. And I didn't look back. I ended up getting drafted by the New England Patriots. I had the wrong attitude. I didn't understand how football worked. So I ended up getting cut, and that was my wake-up call. And once I got cut, kind of woke me up. I learned to look at the game from it's more mind. It was more of a learning curve, and I didn't look back after that. I ended up riding down to Atlanta the day I got cut, and I got a phone call from the San Francisco 49ers, and they offered me a practice squad situation. So I went there, a whole new mind frame, whole new will to learn, and the good Lord offered me allowed the 49ers to offer me a contract, like a real contract, and I turned it down because I wanted to finish school because I had 5 credit hours, and I knew if I would have been in the league 3 or more years, I wouldn't end up going back. So I ended up signing with Jacksonville for the base minimum just so I can get a degree, and ended up not being able to graduate for preseason games, which still bothers me to this day. I'm still thinking about asking the university to let me walk. But it was all worth it. Got there, thought things were good, got cut my first year, bounced back on the practice squad, ended up being a factor in the playoffs. A year later, got cut again, broke my thumb. And I was out of the league for a whole year trying to figure out what I wanted to do next with my life. And by the end of the season, they gave me another call. Gave me a crack at it. By then, I was 300-some pounds. I was kind of defeated at the time, but I ended up hiring a trainer in Miami and went down there and worked my butt off, lost 45 pounds, ended up getting on the team, becoming a backup. They had a first-round draft pick that was ahead of me who was actually my backup at the University of Florida. And I knew that I had more heart and more will than him about this game. So I just sat back and worked hard as I could. And the day I got the opportunity to start, I broke my hand, but I didn't let that hold me down. I tried to figure out different routes and ways. I made my own cast. You know, once the pain kind of went down a little bit, I made my own cast and figured out a way to get back on the field. And I ended up leading the team in sacks with a broken hand. And I guess the Jaguars believed in me because I had the will to fight through that type of pain to give, the team what they needed. And it was really for my family. But I fought through that, came back the next year, led them in sacks again, and ended up getting a big contract. I thought things were great. We had Jack Del Rio ended up getting fired. It kind of hurt me because that's the coach that chose me to be in this position. So he's gone. Now we got a whole new coach, Mike Malarkey came. He made me a captain. I underperformed because we just had bad coaching and a lot of bad things going on. All teams had to do was double team and that was, triple team or whatever. And that right there was a game changer. So long story short, he ended up getting fired. And then Gus Bradley came in. He had a whole different philosophy. He knew exactly what he wanted for his team, but I didn't think his philosophy was best suited for the team. So me and him kind of bumped heads. And, I stayed I continued to work. I ended up getting an allergic reaction that almost took my life, which people don't know. And that's how I ended up getting cut because they showed no concern about my life. And that bothered me. And so as the season went on, I had the Steven Johnson syndrome. Y'all can look that up if you want to find out exactly what it is, but it's definitely one of the worst things that can ever happen to you. I ended up fighting through that. I found out a way to get released without being conduct detrimental to me and taking my money. So I remember Gus Bradley put me in the office telling me, yeah, Jeremy, I don't think you got long in this league, such and such, blah. You better do as I say or whatever. Now, mind you, you hear this whole story I just told you, all these things that happened to me for me to earn where I'm at, and then a new coach come and just eradicate it all, so I didn't let that bother me, though. They cut me literally on my birthday again, 7 years later. And as soon as they cut me, the Denver Broncos called with my same old head coach. And they put me out there on the field, and Von Miller ended up getting hurt. So I stepped in and helped lead our team to a Super Bowl. We didn't quite win because Peyton didn't play his best game, but I end up turning them down to continue for that next season because it was a one-year deal. And I became a free agent. And I remember the day that I signed with the Broncos, I had a voicemail from Jerry Jones. And I was like, I'm going to the Cowboys because they wanted me there. And it's a difference between somebody, allowing you there and then wanting you there. So I went on to Dallas and I kind of recreated myself, got back to the old me, got comfortable with playing football, got comfortable with coaches. Ended up leading the team to, a 12-4 record, one of their top defenses. I was team captain, led them in sacks, MVP. After getting denied all those times, and I continued to fight. So the summer came, I reached every incentive on my contract. I'm the first one since Emmitt Smith to actually beat Jerry Jones in a litigation pertaining monies. And I did that just by knowing my leverage points, knowing exactly what's going on, and not being greedy. I asked him for what I was owed, not for what, nothing more, not a dime more. And I had hit my incentive, and it said if I played 70% of the snaps, I would get $500,000. But they told me I played 63.7% of the snaps. So I went back and looked at every film, and I did the math myself, and I played actually 71.3% of the plays. So I held out because I knew Greg Hardy was suspended for 8 games. I knew DeMarcus Lawrence foot was broke, and I knew we had a whole bunch of young pups that couldn't play, the way to expectations they wanted. And so I ended up winning that litigation. I was still team captain, but man, they put me through hell my last year. They surely did. They put me in every position, but I never backed down because I knew what I was up against. Long story short, I beat all odds that was thrown against me. I could give you so many stories of being denied and then actually winning in the end. So my whole story is a story of persevering and working hard and believing. And for you young guys and everybody tuned in, faith is what you make it. If you believe, you can achieve. And not one moment in my life that I stopped believing in myself and putting forth the work. So the work will manifest. And now I'm here, retired, and I've been a part of a lot of different programs. I created Men Moving Positive LLC, which is pretty much a philanthropy group that gives back to different communities. I started Bashing the Borough because I knew, Statesboro kids did not believe they can make it out and become anything unless they actually see it with their own 2 eyes. So I was bringing different ball players and celebrities to my hometown and my neighborhood just so people can relate and feel that energy. And, after me, it came D'Angelo Tyson, Justin Houston, a lot of other, players that believe in it's going to continue. Kind of broke the cycle of success. Now they actually believe that success is feasible. Like it can happen, so that's a great thing, and I'm just proud of the fact that, I could change lives. And the thing is, I do a lot of monuments in my house. It's our state championship wall. That's my national championship wall over on the other wall. And I keep a lot of these things up so my kids can see, my failures and my successes. And I think us as Black men, we should reach out to each other and inspire. I always had positive energy for the younger generation to come up. I always push Justin mentally and D'Angelo mentally. Whatever I can help with, I help him with. And look at Justin, he ended up being better than me in some way. But God is good, and I'm just glad that you guys got me on so I can tell my story and for people to kind of really understand, what it took for me to get here. It was a very, very hard road, but I made it work.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And that was just good. I just had to pause a little bit. That was guys, this is the season finale. So this is just great to have you guys here. Like we told you, this has been the most anticipated show. We do have students in the room tonight who asked for this show to take place, and you guys are really helping their dreams to come true tonight because we have people who are viewing who asked for each of you. So you guys are really representing what some young people want in the South. So now we are going to hear more about the challenges of Miss Ltona Lamont.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to take it from a different angle with some of the challenges. Instead of challenges that I face, I want to talk to some of the students about the challenges they may face. So for an example, I'll just give a couple of things. I think a lot of student athletes need to understand there's a difference in the levels that you can attain. What I mean by that, there's a Division I, Division II, Division III, there's NAIA schools, there's junior colleges. And a lot of people get confused and think that because it's a Division II school, that you may not get full scholarships. That's not the case. You can. It's just that they're limited on the amount of scholarships they can give. So for basketball, for instance, Division I, we could give out 15 scholarships. So Division II, you can give out a max of 10, but it's all depending on the budget of the school that you're located. Division III gives out academic scholarships. They may not give out basketball or football, but they're academics. A lot of junior colleges, depending on their division, which is also a Division I, Division II levels, they can give out scholarship money, and so can NAIA schools. So, you know, that's a big thing that a lot of parents really don't understand, and some of the student athletes. I think you also need to look for the best fit. You get a lot of student athletes that's looking for the name and going to the biggest school thinking that D1 or bust. A lot of times, especially this year, we had 745 females that were transferring in the transfer portal. So that tells you that they chose schools that was not the best fit for them because they were all looking to leave. So as parents and as a student athletes, I think it's best that you get to know the coaches and the staff, make sure that they're going to be running the plays that you are in, like Mr. Jeremy was talking about him and the coaching staff. It's all about the plays that's going to make sure that you're going to have success. And so you want to make sure they have that type of play when you're going there. You also want to look and see how many seniors and juniors, how many people are going to be ahead of you, especially if you want to play right away. You come in as a freshman. A lot of times, if it's a senior-laden team, you may not see the court as early as you would like, unless you're a special athlete. I also think student athletes sometimes don't utilize the process to vet the coaches just to make sure mentally that's the person I want to play for. You know, you need to go see some of these coaches in action just to make sure, okay, I can handle the way they're screaming at the players, or no, this person doesn't yell enough, that I need someone that's going to be a little bit more on me. Also, if you want to do more in the community, you got to use the coaches and the staff the same way we're going to use you to play and win games. You need to use that to your advantage for internships, for jobs after, for life after basketball, where this coach helped me get to my next destination. You know, so those are some issues that students don't see when they come into college. Also, I think you got to always know that you can be replaced. I think a lot of student athletes, because of the process, you know, you have coaches telling you how great you are and how you're going to come in and make such a big difference. But then once you get there, you feel like the coach doesn't have that same gung-ho spirit that they had when they was recruiting you. That's not the case. It's just you're there to do a job. And a lot of people don't look at it as such, but it really is. You're coming in to play. You're getting scholarship money. I'm a little different when it comes to coaching because I want to make sure that all the players understand that I have their best interests at hand, but you can be replaced because we're going to be recruiting every year. And I think a lot of student athletes don't understand that someone's going to come that plays the same position that I'm in the following year. And so, you know, you have to look at that more as competition and not take it personal. You got to stay hungry and motivated. A lot of students don't go out and practice as much as they should in the summer. You know, this is a different summer because of COVID. But you get a lot of returners that some will come back in shape and ready to play, and you'll have some that doesn't. And then you'll have some hungrier kids that are going to come in and take their place. So I just wanted to give the challenges coming from that type of perspective, because I think a lot of parents don't understand the difference in the levels, and a lot of student athletes don't. I know everyone's talking a lot about HBCU movement and coming back to an HBCU. I think that's a great thing, but I also think you need to make sure you go to one that's going to be benefiting you, because you're going to be the one graduating with a degree, or you'll be the one in a transfer portal. So just make sure you go somewhere where it's a great fit.
That is awesome. Awesome advice. Now we are going to head back over to Argentina and hear from Myles. Gotta take, there you go. Oh, hit it again.
Okay. Now I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off of what Jeremy said, just with the journey, because man, his story is so powerful. But I'm gonna go back to also talking enough about me, but more to like the younger crowd, the younger players in any sport. Don't rush the journey. You know, just take your time with things, and don't be in a rush for everything. Make sure your soul and your spirit is in order, and then on top of that, like she said, make sure you're comfortable to the atmosphere you're in. If you're doing college, or even if you're any pro athletes that are waiting for that call. I know the pandemic, COVID slowed everything down, but right now, just stay focused, stay on course, because it can go from sitting in your mama's living room to being somewhere where everybody around you don't even speak your language. So it can change in an instance, but just always stay ready. And the one thing I do want to highlight is don't lose focus of anything. of anything, no matter what, even if something's happening here, something happening there, you only can control yourself. And the main focus of that, even if you're playing JUCO, Division 1, Division 2, or whatever, hey, whatever's the best fit for you and best environment, go that route. JUCO, I think JUCO is a great opportunity right now, especially dealing with what's going on in the world. But if you don't feel that comfortable, please make sure that you choose the school that you want to go to. Because when you go to those 4 years, like she said, the transfer pool is heavy. It's wide. It's a wide range. So a lot of people go to their college first year, then their second year, hey, I don't want to go here. But everybody's not in that situation to just transfer and up and leave and go to another school, because coaches change and other players come in, because there's a new pool of players every year. But back to what I was saying, just stick to the journey, grasp patience, be patient, because each person has a timetable. And in that timetable is where you learn new information, new ideas, and new goals, to where after that timetable is done, you'll go back and look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. But don't lose focus and just stay on course of the journey.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Myles. Now we're going to...
No problem.
We're going to get some advice back from the office point of view, and we're going to head back over to Texas and hear from Miss Trina.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't call them challenges, I call them opportunities. And so when I came aboard, actually, we are the Heroes Foundation. A lot of people think that we are the Dallas Mavericks. We're a separate entity, but we do a lot of partnerships with them. And so when I came on board, I'll be very transparent. I was not an athlete. The most I played was kickball and PE, but I actually was not a fan of the game. And so I had to understand this game from so many different levels, so many different aspects. But what I had to do was I had to listen to the young people that were on the court. I had to listen to the coaches, and I had to listen to the parents and their support system. And so what we did was we came in pretty aggressive, and my approach was I did not allow parents, and still to this day, I do not allow parents, I do not allow family members to be on the court. It is the coach, it's the trainer, and it is the player. And I do that because I want them to focus on what they're doing. And it's about trust. So if you're going to have a coach to come in, from my perspective, you've got to trust the coach. And we have set it up where you still can see your child. But I also think about the mental impact that it has on our young people when a parent is upset or coaching from the sidelines, or they're videotaping. We don't allow that simply because I don't want to put so much pressure on our young people. And so when I came in, I'm the first female to run this facility. When we went to the Junior NBA conference last year, I discovered we are so unique, where there's not any other facility where training is just the sole focus, where we don't have any seating. And so I had to sit down and say, how do I complement this? And so what we started doing was educating our young people about the business. And so they get the opportunity to sit down with different individuals. The president of the Mavericks comes in, and if the young people are training at that time, that's a great time for them to ask questions. They have access to a lot of professional athletes that stop by. And so what we try to do is make sure that we give them as much access as possible. Mark Cuban's made himself accessible, his financial advisor. So we do a lot of lunch and learns. And so what I would definitely tell young people, don't look at it as a challenge, but look at it as an opportunity to learn. Learn as much about the business as you can. As Jeremy was talking about, he knew what he could leverage. Know about contracts. Get yourself familiar with what is the process of retaining an agent. What are they supposed to gain? What are they supposed to get, and what you're supposed to get? understand the rules of NCAA, understand the rules of the NBA, WNBA. Even if you're going to go overseas and play, understand that you've got to put yourself in a position to be a part of a team and contribute to the team, and I'll always be an asset and not a liability. I went to Grambling State University. I worked my very first day on campus. I worked with Coach Eddie Robb's broadcast, and I knew nothing about broadcast. I was a print journalist, but I embraced it. And so if you get that opportunity, young people, definitely embrace it. If it's a situation, things are too overwhelming, speak up. This is the time for you to say, I can't handle this, I can't handle that. We also tell our young people, think about your nutrition, think about your trainer. You need to, if you're into yoga, do that. If you need to go and see someone for mental health is not a situation where we just go when we are having issues. You need to go to get some things off your chest if it needs to help you redirect. And that's what I look at, the opportunities of so many things that's available to our young folk, but people are putting stereotypes and stigmas and say, no, you shouldn't do that. And then the other thing I want to say is make sure that you network. You have to know what your value is. You got to know what you bring to the table. Like the gentleman said, no one's going to know who you are unless you put yourself out there. So it's not about who knows about who it's about who knows you, but what you can bring to the game. And that's in the game of life, and that's on the court, on the field, off the court, off the field, whatever the case may be. But make sure that you say you're going to do it, be a man and a woman of your word. Have integrity about what you're going to do. And I advise young people all the time. I know social media is great and it's fun, but when you put it out there, it's going to stay out there. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of being a mother and a journalist. What I tell my young people all the time, you don't know who's watching you. And just because you don't see a camera does not mean that a camera don't see you. And so just always be cognizant of you're building a brand, you're building a legacy, and you're in control of all of that when it's all said and done. There are going to be some different scenarios you're going to encounter, but I always remember why you started this whole journey.
That's awesome. I really like that. Just because you don't see the camera doesn't mean you. That's good stuff right there. And we're going to head on over to Tennessee with JC, Miss Jennifer Charles. And Jennifer, I know that you have been given an additional platform to your coaching duties in light of the environment that we now found ourselves in. If you wouldn't mind to please share that with our viewers.
Yes, well, thank you, Lisa, and thank you to all the panelists who's gone before me. It's just so interesting how coaching looks like a big world, but it's so small because our experiences are similar, but in different avenues. And I appreciate Coach Lamonte for actually breaking down just the different levels that are afforded opportunities to you all as student athletes. So don't narrow your view just off of just one level, Division I. There's multiple levels that could be a fit for you and what you're looking to pursue. And, thank you to Trina and Jeremy and everyone else who actually shared about, it pretty much has empowered these student athletes through their experience. And as Lisa said, I think we're in a very interesting time in our country. We're talking a lot about social injustice and racial injustice. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great opportunity right now for student athletes in many forms. And at this opportunity that we are in, yes, they're all afforded great opportunities to come and be athletes. But I also like to, challenge athletes to look at themselves beyond just the stigma of being an athlete. You're more than that. And as we talk about social injustice, we're talking about how can we make our communities better. So as young student athletes, our future prospects are going to go to college. One of the areas I challenge you, as the other panelists has talked about, is education. I think it's important for you all to know that when you get to the college scene, not a lot of you are going to go to the next level of professionalism. So it's important that you take your education very important. Why? Because within our own community, Black community, we lack representation in different facets of our community, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's owning your own business and things like that. And I think it's important that you also look at, as Trina had mentioned before, is your value, understanding your identity and understanding the objective of why you're going to go to college, maybe as a student athlete or maybe as just a regular student. So when we talk a lot right now, the platform has been highlighted a lot on student athletes and giving the student athletes voice and to be a part of change. And as you are entering, whether your senior year or maybe you're a 9th or 10th, 11th grader who's not ready yet to get to college, but you're working on it, pay attention to the things that are happening within the collegiate world to see where the trends and what athletes are doing, because they're utilizing their platform. And so for me, as it pertains to the student athletes, I'm really big about student athlete and understanding their identity and knowing their self-worth, as one of the panelists had mentioned before. Because when you get to an institution, whether you're an athlete or regular, you're a student, you have to take your curriculum very seriously. Okay, you have to figure out what is it that you want to major in that's going to impact you and make you become a future leader in whatever respective field that you're in. And if you are a student athlete, what I really push for is that when you get to these institutions, make sure that you're not all in remedial classes, okay? Because I do think that's a point of focus when it comes to sometimes when you get to the collegiate world, everyone just puts you in a certain class and that's the major you're going to get in. And I think that it's important for you to find out what is it that you're interested in, what are the things that you are really good at and that you want to explore that could eventually impact your community as you go forth if you decide to do your master or PhD. And so I really echo the networking aspect. One of the things that I've heard conversation throughout with different coaches is creating mentorship programs to help our athletes. And I think student athletes, as you're in high school, I think this is a great opportunity as you're getting recruited, or even if you're not getting recruited, to just talk to someone about mentorship programs and internship opportunities in the summer before you go to college, or in the midst of while you're in college, and even while you're in high school. Because I think the more that you can inform yourself and equip yourself before you get to college, I think that helps you. But also when you get to college, I think that's also the start of helping you navigate on what type of degree you want to obtain within your 4 years. So as Lisa alluded to the social injustice, I'm really big about pushing the education, pushing opportunities so that you all can get mentorship aspect of it, because the more that we put you in front of the people that you want to, major in, whether it's business or whether it's psychology or whether it's education, I think that the knowledge you gain will help steer you and navigate you as you graduate within that 4 years. So, for me, I am all coaches. We all know the X and O's, but I think at this prevalent time, it's more about helping you really get a degree and helping you go back to your community and helping you be an impact to that community so that you can do the same thing for other future students who are looking at it. So as the same way you practice your skill every day, whether it's on the field or whether it's on the basketball court, volleyball court, practice that same skill towards education. Spend time educating yourself on what school best suits you, what has the best major for me, what coaches are going to be advocates and help me navigate this new venture in my life, because that is very important as you're looking at the decision on where you go in terms of institutions. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Really appreciate that. And now we're going to head over to Statesboro, and we're going to hear from DeAnthony Stevens. DeAnthony, if you can let us know about some opportunities. I really like that word that Trina used. Rather than, instead of calling it a challenge, some opportunities that have come your way and how you have embraced them and come through those.
Well, some opportunities that I've been presented with here in Bullitt County, just kind of going back, like I was saying, I was actually hired thanks to the late Dr. Evelyn Bonnie Gamble at Portal Middle High School, where I was kind of molded into a coach that does organized sports and things like that, and becoming more of a leader and working on character traits. I was out at Portal Middle High School, coached JV basketball, football. I coached middle school basketball as well for a year. With those opportunities, I just kind of found it, what my purpose really was here on earth. Just kind of taking it stride by stride and learning through experiences just from different people, being up under Jeff Brandon, Tenai Higgins, Cliff Hubbard, and people like that, just teaching me different, tactics on how to move. And then later on, transitioning over to William James Middle School, where actually, for me, the biggest challenge being in the Bullitt County school system as a young, passionate, quote unquote hothead around here, I think the biggest bad thing for me was just kind of finding my way and like getting a fit, finding my fit, finding a group of people or, professionals that were willing to, take me under their wing and help me grow, help me become a better, educator as far as helping out kids in the school system. I was a paraprofessional, ISS first, and then I later moved to special education. And just kind of piggybacking off what some of you guys have spoke on, and just being a former student, kind of young, and going back into college, still dealing with it. Kids need to, and as a trainer, kids need to really, really focus on their schoolwork. Too many times, just being in the school system as a recent, you see too many kids that kind of get this big head, and in the sports world, and they get pampered or they get spoiled, and they feel like they don't have to do certain things once they get to a certain point. That's a really bad narrative that I think we kind of starting to create, and it's been kind of going on in this area a lot. And for me, I think we need to just kind of start focusing on the kids that are actually, doing what they need to do and taking care of their business and responsibilities and things of that nature. But yeah, just honing in on that education. But moving in from William James with Julie Mizell and Brian Hall, just kind of teaching me different mechanisms to, be a better coach, be a better individual, be a better, just person all around. I hadn't had anybody in the area in a long time to kind of just take me under and teach me what they've learned throughout their experiences and things of that nature. So I think that was the biggest challenge, just trying to find my fit, still trying to find my way. And then when I got in the school system, kind of saw things for what they really were, and I just kind of felt like I didn't fit there for the time being. So this is where I kind of found falling into training. And I feel like my passion is sports. When I'm in the gym, I don't think about nothing else other than my daughter, other than that. I'm at peace. It's my sanctuary. Kids, they enjoy it. I feel like I'm impacting. I feel like I'm building youth to be better outside of just on the court stuff. Just thinking back on how I want to lay out my program and things of that nature. Our focus is just building on the development of players and individuals on and off the court, things of that nature, from the elementary all the way up to the professional level. Just trying to build young men and women not to only think about sports as, this is the only option or this is the only goal, trying to create a culture or cultivate a culture that is consistent. Like some of you have spoke on taking care of your body, working out every day, practicing, good habits off the court, doing your homework, taking out the trash, helping mom, dad, do simple little things like that. Just creating good habits and knowing that good habits later in turn into good dividends that get paid off from your investments. But yeah, I think that's just my biggest challenge is just continuing to create a level of consistency, having kids continue to keep coming, so that later on I can create a nonprofit organization to create jobs and opportunities for people in this community, for young people that are playing in this training in the program now to come back and later get back. I want to create a mentoring program for young men and women because I do know the mental aspect of dealing with sports, dealing with the pressures, dealing with, mom and dad or just the spectators and everything else, and dealing with social media and learning how to maneuver. Just want to embody a culture that creates something for our culture, you know, especially right now, and doing what I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to about 6 p.m. every day from May 18th. I feel good every day I go in because it's something I love to do. Outside of my daughter, you know, and my family, I love basketball, and I feel good about helping people get better, seeing the smiles and faces on the parents and kids' faces every day they come in. So just having a facility later on down the road to, you know, be able to maneuver from sports to sport to sport and be able to have kids come in after school, do their homework, focus on collegiate opportunities as far as SAT prep, pre-SAT, stuff like that. Just want to have a window of opportunity for our community. I know in Statesboro, growing up here in the areas that I've grown up, it still looks the same. So for me, and knowing the athletes and the potential, just watching Jeremy Mincey, Justin Houston, and Courtney Houston also helps out as well. He's played some overseas basketball professionally for 2 years, Middle Tennessee at a prep school. He played 1 year at Georgia Southern University. His brother, Justin Houston, we're partnering together right now to try to get this thing going in the right direction. So later we can get to going and, you know, creating something for our kids and outlet. So that they can take the lid off and see things for what they really are in the bigger picture.
All right. Thank you so much, DeAnthony. And now we are going to hear from Coach Rico Campbell.
Okay. So I probably had two challenges, I think, in my sports career. One was when I was a high school student, I played basketball, and around 11th grade, I was in the program and I got cut. So I had to figure out what I was going to do next. I was one of the fastest kids in the school, and both Coach Hill and Coach Collins said, well, you just need to go out for track. So they would kind of push me doing tryouts to, you know, go towards track. So I did. I gave it another chance. And I had always been good at track growing up, you know, going to state for the rec. But when I got to high school, that first year, it was kind of a struggle. You going against 11th and 12th graders who, you know, hit puberty or whatever. You know, I was a little kid, kind of like one of my sons as a 9th grader. So I was terrible. You know, I was probably one of the worst guys on the team. So after I got cut, I went out for track, 11th grade, and I did pretty good. You know, we made the state. I made the state, and did the same thing my senior year. So, and I was able to get a scholarship off of that. So that was one of the things that kind of pushed me and kind of motivated me to be better. And I never wanted to put myself in a situation where somebody could tell me no again, because, you know, that's a bad feeling to not make a team that you've been with for a long time. So that situation, and then the thing that happened to me as an adult, as a coach, you know, my background's in track, but I played basketball. I've coached basketball, but I got an opportunity to actually be a head basketball coach at Johnson. This was year before last. So coming to that season, I was an assistant coach. I had dabbled in that for a while, but not really that, you know, serious with it. But then my son got involved, and the coach was going to retire, so I got involved. I really had a choice out of that and football, because football coach was going to step down. So, you know, I really had two choices. Whether I was going to be like the head football coach or the head basketball coach. And I kind of wavered back and forth. I really didn't know which one I wanted to do. Talked to a couple people and ended up going with basketball. So once I went with basketball, went through the off season, went through the summer, we beat everybody. Got to the regular season. We kind of rolled through the regular season. We had some grade policy at the school that we were supposed to be going through. And, you know, I was following it. So, you know, every week we'd check grades. Every 2 weeks we'd check grades. So, you know, if you have a certain grade on your report card or in class, then, you know, you had to make some changes or you were going to have to sit out. So got down to the region tournament. We were the #1 seed. We went undefeated in the region. we had already qualified for the state. So we played that night. We lost. Some things were said. And then the next day, I got called into the office like right before the game because we were play that night. And then Triple said, we're going to go in a different direction. So they wanted somebody with a different philosophy. So, that was probably one of the hardest things that I probably ever went through as a person, as a man. And then, the rough part is I had to go back to work on Monday. So for February to May, I was still at that same school, had to walk by those same people who, were kind of on my side, but kind of switched up on me. So that was a tough occasion, but I was able to go to New Hampstead, and I've been there since. And, as a coach, and as a player, we heard from Jeremy, we heard from Myles, we heard from, Travis. A lot of times they have to uproot their family for different situations, and it's not their fault. So what I just tell people is stick to your guns, stick to your philosophy. Don't let people waver you. Have good mentorship. Have people that you can talk to. Have people that's in your corner, because you're going to go through rough situations. You can do everything right and still not have a job. It could be due to a layoff. We got COVID-19 going on. People not even having a program because of that. Morehouse basically shut down sports. So you could be in a situation like that. So this is my advice. Be good at more than one thing. And as a coach, I felt like I could coach multiple sports. So if basketball doesn't work out ever again, I still have track. Or I can go into football. Or I can just do my own thing. So, try to be well-rounded. Try to not be held back by other people. That's my advice to y'all, and that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Coach Campbell. And we are going to let Jeremy Mincey close our show out tonight. Jeremy, we've heard about some of the challenges that you've had along the way, but we'd like to share, just share some final thoughts, some things that you would like for our viewers. Jeremy had to go to. I guess, guys, you guys get MamaLisa's final thoughts, right? And with some things that I thought were good for you to keep with you. So number one, be good at more than one thing. Number two, your peace. I thought that was very key tonight. Sometimes you go chasing the bag, or you chase the name of the school because somebody told you that's what it was, or you chase the career because your mama and daddy told you this is a job that's going to lead to a good future, but you have to find your peace. Networking. Everybody has said that tonight. You need to network. Even if you are in high school or middle school, it's never too late for you to begin interning, because sometimes an intern will allow you to realize what you don't want to do. Sometimes it exposes you to what you want to do, but you may get some experience in what you want to do and decide that's not you. I remember I interned as in the beauty salon when I was 14. And for people who know me, I'm terrible at doing hair. But that summer let me know that I should not be a beautician. Know the coaches when you're deciding on where to take your scholarship. Make sure that your personalities suit each other. You feel like you're going to develop and fit into that program. And just because you don't see the camera, don't mean the camera don't see you. So be careful out there on social media. I'd like to thank our sponsors for our season finale. Original art by DeAnthony is responsible for all of the graphic design that you have seen leading up to this show. And you'll see more from original art by DeAnthony in season 2. Get on the bandwagon, sponsored our very first Instagram Live on tonight. And I would like to thank all of our panelists. You were amazing. I know that with you sharing the story behind your glory, that somebody's life will be changed tonight. I'm MamaLisa. I know cool people, and I've just brought them to you. God bless. Good night, everyone.